I assumed I was going to raise my kids around their extended family. I put these role models in their lives. I thought that when I married their dad, he was going to be a role model of a certain kind. I thought that he had like a good work ethic. I thought that he was a good guy. I was totally wrong about that. But they had a good work ethic and some things like that. I balanced it with, like my dad and my brother and their godfather. They were all, educated guys. Noah's godfather was an actor, and my dad and my brother were, both had higher degrees and, things like that. And so, I figured that with the whole group, it would be a balance. And that's what I felt like I had. I felt like I had a balance because my mother's parents were really salt of the earth, but, they weren't educated. They'd never really been anywhere or anything like that. But they had a lot of valuable stuff to teach me, but I felt like it was a really good balance. It wasn't like everyone in my life had the same circumstances that I did. They grew up with different circumstances. So I had I felt like I had I felt like I had a pretty well run as it could be. I mean, I tried to as much as possible expose myself to things. I went as an exchange student in college, and different things like that, as much as I possibly could, just to make myself a well-rounded person. When all this came to fruition, there was not anybody around them that was a decent man. That when this all happened, all the men and the women, but since they're boys, there wasn't any man in their midst that was a role model. There wasn't any man that I could point to and say there's someone to admire. These people that were supposed to be this community to help them along now were obstacles they had to overcome. These people that were supposed to be like this, they were supposed to bolster them and give them a sense of identity and belonging and, all that. Now they had to overcome them because they stood for everything that's wrong with society. That everything a man shouldn't be. Everything a man shouldn't be. What my husband and my father and my brother were doing were just the opposite of what those roles should be. A devoted wife and mother and daughter who's been very devoted gets sick and needs to turn to her family, and they just bail out and completely take advantage of the most vulnerable people in the family. My brother and my father condone my husband doing this to me. I can't even fathom it. I just can't even fathom it. And my sons are sitting there and they're thinking, well, God, I don't want to be like any of these people. That's not the kind of father I want. I want to be a father like my father. I don't want to be a father like my mom's father. I don't want to be a man like my uncle or a brother like my uncle. My kids already, by the time they were in middle school, they were already more emotionally mature than their adult relatives. Seriously, I felt like their dad was stuck at about maybe 13 years old at the oldest, and I remember when they were passing him up. It was about 7th grade. That's when they could identify that they were better people. They were just better people. They had true empathy, true compassion, and they had really good bullshit detectors, much better than mine. So they saw a lot of the lies because they knew what the truth was about me. They knew how I lived. They knew because they were with me, and then they would go over and be around them, and they would hear them gossiping stuff that wasn't true. So they had that. I didn't really get to hear the gossip, so I didn't hear what they were saying, and then the people gossiping didn't ever get to really see the reality because they were never around me. Truly, I've really had pretty much no contact with them. Based on when they abandoned me, that was basically the end of it. Basically, I had the heart attack, and like the next year, they abandoned me, and that was basically it. I've had, because it was never formal. It was never a formal no contact thing. There's still things that happen, like these emails now and again. Well, it took my son dying for me to get, I think that's the first birthday, acknowledgement of a birthday I've had in years. They wanted to perpetuate a conflict. They wanted to perpetuate the divisiveness. They did not want peace. There was just no shared, we had no shared goals. They didn't want peace. It wasn't like this was ever a big bummer for any of them. It was never like that. It was never like this terrible conflict happened and we don't know how, we just want to get past it. Even though, even they wouldn't admit that they made a mistake. Even if they couldn't do that, they just never wanted to get past it. They kept making the mistake. They kept doing it. They kept wanting to keep the conflict going. They were so clearly so hostile and actively not wanting peace. And then they just had to blame it on me. Here my kids are, and this was really a dilemma for them. And so, fortunately, I chose some decent men. I had 4th grade or 3rd and 5th grade for them. So ever since that age forward, they had a good man, the good man that I was with. And they had an example of a really good husband and father in my husband. And he's been really awesome. Unfortunately, by the time we were married, my son was already really pretty out of control, and so they managed to end up. He managed to really end up really admiring my husband and stuff anyway, but he was never really he clean and like a functioning person the entire time that I was married to my second husband. But he was a good man. My son, they were good. There was no question they were not sociopaths. They were not narcissists. They were compassionate, good men who just were immature and needed to grow up. And so I was really excited about what they were going to become. But I'm going to play for you. I want to play for you a song, one of my son's songs with the lyrics, so that you can see that this is how he saw it, how he saw his family and what he was missing. In particular, what strikes me is his feeling about his father not teaching him how to be a man. To sort of shrink the song, it's a really meaningful song about the world that we live in and how he would like to see it change. There's one lyric in it that he repeats in the chorus that I just can't stand. And it's something about it kind of just shows a little self-loathing about God being asleep at the wheel or something when he was the day he made him, and I hate that lyric. But yeah, he's warning me. He's warning me that he's going to die. He's telling his dad that he never taught him to be a man, and then he's basically talking to God and the planet about hoping that he sees change before he dies, which he didn't. Unfortunately, he didn't. But yeah, I want to play this song for you, and just so you can see it from the perspective of, he was probably about 18 when he wrote this song. It's called Redefined. Just turning into being an adult, and that was really scary for him and for my other son. They're very scary when all the men that are in your family, all the men that raised you, all the men you're blood related to, are complete and utter failures as men. They're complete, and they're just absolutely everything you would never want to be as a man. And that's what they're looking at. And these are all their relatives. There isn't one man they're related to that they can go, oh, that's my idol. And I know what that's like, because I do have my grandmothers, but it's heartbreaking when your own parents are such a disappointment, and that's what they didn't get. Because being who they are, they didn't have the same loyalty, they didn't have the love and all of that for me. They weren't as connected to me as I was to them. So they didn't go through the heartbreak. They were pathologically envious of me and wanted to have me not be the remarkable person that I was always wanting to try to be. That I was trying to be, so they would love me. That was not that. It turned out that wasn't what they wanted at all. That was just making them more and more envious. It's so sick and twisted. It is so sick and twisted. And I'm so grateful that I feel that way. That I feel like, even though I was raised this way, it feels like it's completely foreign to me. I can't imagine, because with my sons, all I want is for one of them just to be the very best they could be at every single thing. And I feel so proud of them when they're, you know, good men and they do the right thing. And you know, I just can't imagine wanting to believe that your daughter is, you know, they just didn't give me, they, you know, I always saw them through rose-colored glasses, and they saw me through shit-colored glasses. They saw me so much worse than I ever was, because they were just completely projecting onto me. It's so sad, because I honestly would love to have an adult daughter like me, or a friend like me, or a sister like me, or a, you know, I would love that. And then I was this gift to them, and they couldn't appreciate it. They just couldn't even appreciate it. And it's just so ironic and sad and weird. And then, you know, how it is that I lose my son. You know, these are the questions. God has his mysterious ways. All right, you guys, thanks a lot. I will talk with you later. Bye-bye. This is Redefined by my son, Noah Rance.
Need you to know that one day your child's blood will grow cold. And Father, I need you to